Welcome to this edition of The Ride. This week we've got Kawasaki's brand new Ninja 300 and the 1000 to test out.
That's right. These two bikes represent two different classes of the sport bike market. The 300 is an entry-level bargain, and the 1000 just might be the most comfortable leader bike out there. And if you've never thought about owning a sport bike, we might be about to change your minds.
Well, I think we can definitely change your mind. Now, here's a great thing about these bikes. We've already given them a test run, and we've picked out our favorites, but we're going to save that until the end. To really get to know these bikes, though, it's time for a history lesson and a road trip.
For almost 3 decades, if you wanted a beginner sport bike that was easy to ride, Kawasaki had you covered. In fact, the Ninja 250 sold so well that it went practically unchanged for almost 22 years. This bike was everything you could want. Easy to ride, manageable power, great gas mileage, and low insurance rates. And if you didn't drop it too much, when it came time to sell it, you could almost get close to what you paid for it back. However, as a motorcycle, it always had one major drawback. You tended to outgrow it way too fast. In 2008, the 250 got upgraded with new bodywork, better components, and sharper handling. The little Ninja looked and felt a little bit more like a modern sport bike. But once again, while extremely fun to learn on and play with, if you wanted a serious sport bike, after a short time, you started looking for something a little bigger and faster. So in 2013, Kawasaki decided to step up their small engine game. And the results are spectacular. This is the Ninja 300. 50 more cc's of motor, a slipper clutch, digital and analog tach, ABS brakes, and wait for it, digital fuel injection. Welcome to the future. But while a lot has changed from the 250 version, Kawasaki's been smart and kept the essentials. The handlebars are upright, the seat height is only 30.9 inches tall, and the 4.5-gallon fuel tank should easily get you well over 200 miles, averaging, if not better, than 70 miles per gallon. So what does all this mean? Sure, it looks good on paper, but what will a road test reveal? And will it be able to keep up with something over 3 times its size?
There's no denying that today's leader sport bikes are incredible machines. In fact, bikes like this Kawasaki ZX-10R have huge amounts of horsepower, are incredibly lightweight, and come equipped with brakes that will stop you on a dime. They also have rider aid technology that was almost unheard of just a few years ago. But while these machines will make you feel like a rock star when you grab a handful of throttle, they still have one very large problem. Unless you're on a twisty back road, a long straightaway, or have the engine wide open on a track, this seating position can become really uncomfortable really fast. So what if you don't want to give up most of this power, but also don't want to get muscle cramps after 30 minutes of riding? With raised handlebars, a 32.3-inch comfortable seat height, and friendly riding position, the Ninja 1000 is the answer to the question, can there be a wickedly fast, all-day rideable sport bike? With a 5-gallon tank, lightweight rigid frame, and a monstrous 1043cc engine, this bike should satisfy everyone from long-distance junkies to hardcore speed enthusiasts.
Now, here in Southern California, there were a couple locations we considered for testing out these bikes. We could have taken them through the city and onto the highway to show you just how commuter-friendly they are, which would have been very responsible of us. Or there's always the Pacific Coast Highway, where we could safely reach manageable speeds and enjoy a lovely scenic tour that would probably end with a breathtaking sunset over the Pacific Ocean. But let's be honest, if Kawasaki gave you 2 sport bikes, one that redlines at 13,000 RPMs and the other with over 125 horsepower at the rear wheel, where would you take them? 25 miles north of Los Angeles lies the Padres National Forest and the San Gabriel Mountains. And if you're looking for miles of uninterrupted pure motorcycling bliss, you won't get much better than this. According to our friends at Mad Maps, these roads contain well over 300 miles of hairpin turns, sweeping canyons, and beautiful lookout points with elevations as high as 10,000 feet. For today though, we're only going to tackle about 100 miles of riding. So let's get started. After about 20 minutes of some fun sweepers, we've come to one of my favorite roads in the entire United States. Upper Big Tujunga, or as it's called by the locals, 9 Mile. This is a road that is perfectly suited for the bikes we have today. Now it's not technically difficult, nor does it allow you to go flat out as fast as you want. But the smooth surface and long range of visibility between corners and straightaways have a way of inspiring experienced riders to maintain a constant speed for the entire run. But don't worry, even if you're on your first bike and need to take things slow, it's still an amazing road. However, both Heather and myself are experienced, and being so, I'm proposing a little race. Last one to the end of the road buys lunch. And even though in the numbers game she's already got me beat, I've got a few tricks up my sleeve that might give me an advantage. All right, so we come to the end of 9 Mile, one of my favorite roads. Love the sweepers, love the straightaways on this thing. Got a question for you, Heather.
Go ahead.
Did I pass you about 5 miles back on some of the curves?
You did.
I did. I passed you on a Ninja 300 and you had a 1000. I just want that on the record, that happened.
Yeah, but then that makes me question, did you happen to take these bikes out, I don't know, for a possible test run before I got back from vacation while you had them for 5 days?
I take the 5th.
That's what I thought.
The point is, this is an amazing little bike. It really is. I had a 250. I liked it a lot. This 300 is heads and tails better. And you don't have to have a big bike to really enjoy, road like this.
It surprised me a little bit.
All right.
It did. But with that said, I believe you still owe me lunch.
That is true, I do. I lost.
And I am craving cheeseburger and a big side of chili cheese fries and a milkshake. Right. And I'm thinking maybe a slice
buy you lunch.
pizza.
I will buy you lunch. But we have to switch bikes. Got to get a fair and balanced review. I get the 1000 now.
All right, fair enough. Yeah. Ooh, you know what? They have really good fish and chips. So maybe some fish and chips. And then I'll probably go with dessert. Maybe some cheesecake. Pie. Pie. We'll get pie. Leaving 9 Mile, we take a left onto Angeles Crest and head for higher ground. But it's always important to remember to stop and enjoy the view. But we can't rest too long, because the more I think about it, the hungrier I'm getting. And that means it's time for a stop at Newcomb's Ranch. No matter what you ride or what you're in the mood for, Newcomb's Ranch is a must-stop destination when riding through Angeles Crest. At an elevation of 5,340 feet, this roadhouse has everything from club sandwiches to mouth-watering burgers and beer. And because the roads are cleared all year round, you can visit almost any time you'd like. Now usually, the weekends and race days are the best time for you to mingle with fellow riders. But if you want a little less of a crowd and the same great service, Mondays through Fridays are your best bet. But enough talk. Someone owes me lunch.
Really?
Oh.
Really?
Yeah.
Where is it you got all this with?
Do you need anything else for this, guys?
After having some lunch, some of us more than others, it's time to head north. Now, while there's no denying that some of the best views are from the top, sometimes having the most fun can be the trip back down. While 9 Mile was where we got to push these Ninjas to their speed limits, coming back down these mountains requires a little more finesse and control. And today, both the 300 and 1000 have proven to be more than capable of tackling everything we've thrown. So, as tempting as it would be to burn up another tank of gas, I think it's time we head back to the garage and try to decide which one of these Ninjas came out on top.
Well, I had a lot of fun riding these bikes. Specifically the 1000. It is so powerful. It weighs just over 500 pounds. It has upright handlebars, upright seating position. It is perfect for someone my size because I can actually flat-foot it in boots at 5'5". It is not a bike that I would recommend to anyone for their first bike.
No.
At all.
Too much power.
Yep, too much power. But I would definitely recommend it for a second or anything upgraded from like a 600. The only thing that I didn't like was the engine braking at slow speeds. But once you pick it up and go really, really fast, the engine braking is amazing. So I wouldn't even change that.
The engine braking at slow speeds, it's a little harsh. But it's one of those bikes, and it's true. They say it all the time, but you really don't believe it until you get to ride one like this. The faster you go, the better it rides. For the first time in a while, I completely agree with you. This thing is a beast. It's just amazing to ride. And I actually had to watch myself because it's one of those things where you could get into trouble with it if you're not careful. Even though the power delivery is so smooth on the engine, it's like, maybe you want to watch yourself. Another thing about this too is you mentioned the seat height and the handlebars on this. That's a huge deal because even though this is classified as a sport bike, if you took saddlebags and a tank bag and maybe a different seat, you could go like 400 miles in a day on this thing easy. No problem.
Agree. I could have ridden this thing so much longer than we actually rode for those few hours.
All right, so here's the thing. We've come to the end of our review now. I promise you we'd tell you our favorites, so. You can't really compare a 300 and a 1000, but.
You can't, but if I had to pick a favorite, I would pick the 1000 because despite what they say, size does matter.
Well, all right. Hey, no, I'm fine.
It's okay. I made him a little flustered, but I actually really did like the 300 because it moves so lightly through the canyons, but the 1000 is just so much more fun.
It is. It's one of those things too where when you have so much power, it's hard to go back, to a 300. But my pick is the 300. It's so lightweight. It's almost like riding a bicycle just with, 300 cc's underneath it. And I think we proved today, though, that if you can keep up your corner speed with this thing, which you can keep up with bikes that are much bigger than you. And that's a huge deal for new riders who can gain confidence when they're riding.
Yeah, I actually even had that same feeling with the 250, but this one's even better.
Yeah. Great new technology, the ABS, the slipper clutch, just a phenomenal bike.
Definitely.
So definitely want to thank Kawasaki for letting us these things. Huge thanks also to Scorpion for giving us brand new gear. Love it.
Love my new helmet.
Fantastic, looks great.
And don't forget to check out the rest of our